Welcome back, chapter 50. Mitchie panted breathlessly. She never known such pain in her life. Her lower body felt like it was on fire. My God, her body would probably never be the same. Surely her vagina had stretched beyond its limit. Would she ever be able to enjoy sex again after passing a 6-pound infant through that narrow opening? Here she is, Miss Mihu, the nurse said, handing her the baby, who had now cleaned all of those membranes that had covered her when she came out. She noticed Erol stiffen behind her. He knew this would be the moment of truth, and she sensed he hoped she would decide against keeping the baby. What? Wait. And she sensed he hoped she would decide against keeping the baby. I thought he wanted the baby. Am I reading that wrong? Okay. The child certainly didn't look like much, Mitchie thought. For one thing, she was all head. Her eyes were shut and her nose seemed to dominate her face. They talking about a baby. And why was she so pale? Mitchie could see veins through her skin, which looked almost translucent. She decided the baby would get cuter once she got a little older. After all, she thought baby Ray Jean wasn't particularly cute at first, but she improved a lot in 4 months, even if she still looked more like Michael than Cece. Well, Erol pressed. Mitchie looked at him and shook her head. When she had her baby with Erol, whom she felt positive would be a boy, she would feel something a lot different, a lot more positive. Thank you, she said to the nurse, holding out the bundled baby for her to take back. Norrell stood in front of the nursery window, staring at the baby. The pink name tag bore the name Bellamy. From where she stood, the baby's features apparently muted. At this point, she couldn't tell if it looked like Vic. Vic wouldn't even tell her the name of the hospital where the baby had been born before today. This infuriated her, for she knew he had all the details and deliberately withheld the information. No doubt he feared she would seek out the birth mother in her room and make a scene. Now she didn't even bother acting on her curiosity. She knew Vic waited until after the birth mother had been discharged to tell her the baby's location. Now the time had come to discharge the baby, but she still had a decision to make, or at least she had to inform Vic about what she decided. She wanted this child, even with her being the result of her husband's affair. How could she blame an innocent infant for the sins of her father? Besides, could she honestly say that she had been blameless in the deterioration of her marriage? But that don't mean it's okay that he made a baby. Hadn't she played a role in driving Vic into the arms of that other woman? Maybe. But that didn't mean she could forgive him just like that or forget about it either. This would hurt for a long time, but she felt reasonably certain that she could separate her anger at Vic from the love she felt for the baby. Norrell, you all right? Vic asked, coming to stand beside her. Yes, I'm fine, but I have a question for you. What's that? She turned to face him, wanting to see his reaction, and spoke in a near whisper. If you and I already had a child and were happy, would you still have wanted to bring this baby home to me? That's a good question. If you and I had a child and were happy, I wouldn't have slept with another woman. Good point. So there would be no other child, he said bluntly. Indulge me, Vic. All right. Hypothetically, the answer is no. I would have encouraged her to give up the baby for adoption. I probably would have gotten Henry involved in the screening process of prospective parents to do everything I could to make sure she went to a good home. Ooh, excuse me. But I wouldn't have felt the need to have the baby be permanently part of my life. She signed. So this is why you've put so much emphasis on the possibility of the mother changing her mind, because you knew her. I didn't spend enough time with her to know her, but a change of heart can happen with any birth mother, Norrell. This woman is the center of her own universe. She does what's convenient for herself without any regard for anyone else. He paused to look at the infant on the other side of the glass. But her loss can be our gain if you want it. What if I don't want it? Will you be content to come home with me and let your child go into the foster care system? Vic took a deep breath. He tried to do the right thing, to make the most out of an unhappy situation. He'd been as open as he could with Norrell once she guessed the truth, while keeping the identity of his newest daughter's mother anonymous. He knew he could never tell her the whole truth. Oh, it's gonna come out, 'cause Mitchie ain't the one. She petty. They still had a chance for a happy ending, but Norrell would never forgive him if she knew he slept with Cece's sister. And he got that right. He tried his best to be as honest as he could in quite difficult circumstances. He couldn't lie to her now. I don't think I can give her up, he said. It would be different if I hadn't seen her, but I have. She looked so vulnerable, so peaceful in that bassinet. Handing her over to carefully screened adopted parents who will love and cherish her is one thing. Let her go into a foster home where she might be mistreated or neglected is something else. I'd hope you would want to keep her, to bring her up as ours. I know it's a lot to ask you, Norrell, but I believe you have it in you to love this little girl without letting her be a reminder of how much I've hurt you. He sighed. I guess this is it, he said solemnly. This is where we find out what's to become of us. Their eyes met and held. All right, Vic, she said. Let's bring our daughter home and give her a name. That's the end of chapter 50. Oh, so she decided to take the baby home. So she's going to be strong and forgive the fact that he stepped out, because she feel like part of her caused him to do it. And I really don't think, in my opinion, that when you have problems, you're supposed to seek elsewhere to solve them. And this being one reason why you shouldn't do it, because so many things can happen. I believe in talking it out. If you can't find a resolution, then go your separate ways. I don't think bringing other people and other situations in make things any better. But so I don't agree with her thinking that she had something to do with it. Yeah, she was focused on her company. Yes, she was drinking and stuff like that. But there's a bottom line of why she's doing all of those things. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't, when she needed him the most, he wasn't there for her. So how he's spinning it sound kind of selfish, because she desperately wanted a baby, and she couldn't get pregnant, and she's not going to get pregnant. So when she was going through that, Vic didn't, think about what she's going through mentally, physically. He just kept throwing it in her face that she can't have kids, and telling her to get over it. And that's like the worst thing you could tell somebody that's going through anything. Just get over it, or you should be better by now. So of course, when someone that you love or you committed to don't show you any type of empathy and sympathy of what you're going through, it causes problems. But I think that it was a little too late for him to realize it. And unfortunately, it happened after he slept with Mitchie and got her pregnant. But hey, that's just how it goes in my brain. It's not how it turns out. So she decided to keep the baby. So now we need to know if how Mitchie in a role is going to be. If Mitchie really going to let the baby go, and will they ever find out it was Mitchie that had the baby? We have 3 more chapters left. Let's find out. See you in the next chapter. Bye.